Hello, Kaylan. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining me in today's call. So Kaylan is a broker, and I talk to a lot of brokers all the time. But when I get Kaylan on the phone, it's a ray of light. It's a positive call. It makes me smile just by the radiance of her aura coming through her voice, and so the conversations go positive. So every time I get Kaylan on the phone, it seems like a positive conversation, and I love that, and I want to keep it going. And I thought I could interview you today and ask questions about you and your business, and maybe you can tell us about your deals and what you're up to. And feel free to promote what you're up to because I think it's important. You work for Franklin Street
Mhm.
and
Down here in the plantation office, but I'm actually moving to
plantation office.
Miami office that we're opening, so some new and
Okay,
exciting career moves and changes, but yeah.
fun. So career change for you, different office, different boss, different coworkers, different doing a dance
Little
there.
bit, yeah, different. I mean, everything's still the same, right? Like Franklin
Yeah,
Street's core values, everyone at the end of the day, everyone is the exact same person. It's just different personalities in different offices. So down there in the Miami office, we have some killers. Rafael Romero, who
yeah,
does a lot of institutional type of landlord leasing. Riza Perez just joined as well. Kind of all of us do investment sales, leasing, retail's retail. So that's
yeah.
kind of how we're structuring the Miami office and super excited to get to go down there and work with them.
Fun. So you're retail. You focus on retail and single tenant, mostly single tenant, couple tenants, but
So at the beginning of my career, I would have told you that I primarily just cold call strip centers. I was just a
yeah,
strip
there,
center.
there you go.
And now that's kind of changed a little bit more with the tenant rep that I've been doing for Seven Brew, which we can definitely get into. But with
Yeah,
the Seven Brew tenant rep opportunities, there's been a lot more just single tenant and I would say newer development opportunities, which is where, me and my friend Luke here have met originally. And just real quick to kind of give him some props, like they're one of the most creative buyer groups that I've kind of met when it comes to some of the looking at some of these deals and figuring out what multitude of tenants can go there to make the numbers make sense. So I just have to give you your flowers real quick because it's always a pleasure to work with you and your partner and stuff
I
like
usually
that.
wear
So
the flowers on my shirt. We just go with that, right?
well, good, good. I'm handing
Yeah.
them to you and they're on your shirt now. So
Oh, thank you. There we go. No. So I want to hear your canned spiel when you call a strip center. When you call a strip
yeah.
center, do you say, do you start in English? Do you start with, it depends which strip center you're calling? What do you say? I want to broker you. I got a good tenant for you. I could sell your strip center.
Yeah.
How do you make that call?
So the cold call, it definitely depends on the center, the area, all of that good stuff. So,
Yeah.
if it's somewhere down here in Miami, since I do have the Seven Brew, tenant rep connection, there most of the time the conversations in the Miami market start with just me trying to find them space. Now, with me
Okay.
trying to find them space, there's been a lot of owners who have either said, I won't ground lease, I won't lease at all, but I will sell.
Yeah.
Or, I won't look to actually do any development or do that myself, but if someone's interested in buying my strip center, my unanchored retail, we just say strip center, but
Yeah.
my unanchored retail building, then, I'd have no problem selling it. So it's like you're kind of going in sometimes with a different goal. And then through that, you kind of come out on the other side, just being a broker.
Yeah.
You ask your questions, you find out your information, and then boom, there's sometimes a deal. Other times, I'm definitely strategically kind of going after them, whether I've sold a deal in their market, I've been doing a lot of things around there. I know something that's happening. There's always kind of an interest generator that you use. Most of the
Yeah.
times in our business, people say, whether you just bought something, sold something, listed something, or there's a change in the market, those are like the four things you should be telling someone about
There
when
you
you call.
go.
So yeah, it's just what I try to do to bring
So
my value.
you start with information. You're
No one
educating,
wants to get a call and ask, "Will you sell me your building? Can I please list
right?
your"
No.
like, no one wants to talk to you, so it's like, what am I
No.
providing you to get the conversation going to then, in turn, you kind of see that I know what I'm talking about, and then we can
Yeah.
actually have educated conversation.
So you, so you've got Seven Brew. So we should talk about that because I love Seven Brew. I like a lot. I love a lot of these brands, but Kaylin is repping Seven Brew, if I can say that. I mean, feel
Mhm,
free to correct me or whatever. She's repping Seven Brew for her area in Southern Florida. And your
mhm.
area is
Miami-Dade and Monroe County, so
okay.
basically, like,
The
Aventura
expensive ones.
yeah, literally the
The
most
money.
expensive and the
Yeah.
hardest one to find because no one wants to do it.
I send mailers everywhere, buy land, and make cash offers, and nobody replies to my offers there. Never, no, not even reply. Don't even, they don't even give me counter offers.
not even aware where you're from.
Nothing. Other places at least give you a counter offer or accept my offer, and then I go
Yeah.
figure it out from there. But yeah, the hardest market. So you're looking at strip centers as the opportunity. And you look at a strip center and you say, can I go on the left and the people drive around, we get a drive through? Can I put one in the parking lot? Can
Yeah.
I take some parking places? Maybe we should
Mhm.
explain Seven Brew too for whoever's watching.
Yeah. So I'll
But,
explain Seven Brew first, and then I'll kind of explain what I'm looking for because I wouldn't say that strip centers are primarily what I'm targeting with Seven Brew. I would say that
okay.
that's just where some other conversations are had. But
Yeah.
Seven Brew basically is a double drive-through coffee concept. It's nationally recognized, it has over 600 stands across the country. So definitely not like a one and done or, 50.
No.
We got hundreds and hundreds everywhere. Double drive-through concept that has a 500 square foot prefabricated box that gets trucked in from
Yeah.
Georgia. And so that's a really cool way that we've been able to, number one, be competitive in the market and also just kind of save on costs of the development wise for people and landlords and stuff because we'll just ground lease an opportunity. So it gets trucked in, placed down, and then, like I said, as long as the double drive-through situation is there, it's kind of that's all they need to make it work. From a acreage perspective, there was something I submitted in Miami on 0.15 acres where the stacking was more L-shaped. I won't say that
Okay.
that happens every time, right? But like that
Wow.
was on an infill market like this where some of these larger power centers just, there's no space. It's kind of what you have to do. So that's one part. But if we had our pick, we would have anywhere from, really half an acre, but point 0.3 to point 0.5
Yeah.
acre is, what we need. To your point, down here, we will attach the end of a strip center and go around and just kind of do like an end cap situation. But truthfully, I'm kind of targeting grocery centered, like grocery anchored centers right now, like your Publix and stuff like that, because we look for drivers in the market. So high schools, grocery centers, and things like that where you're going and shopping and having to actually like hospitals, having nurses and patients
Okay.
and stuff that are there. Those are all drivers for places that will want to go. And then it's just seeing if we can make the numbers make sense. That's
Yeah.
the hardest thing that we've been like running into down here is a lot of the numbers are over 200K on new development or just out parcel opportunities in these centers because it's Miami. Because we don't have any, stands open where we can substantiate those sales down here in Miami yet.
Yeah.
It's hard to justify that number. Not saying that that maybe is market or not market, but it's just hard to justify without that yet. So that's been the biggest hurdle, but I think that's where I'll say one more thing that we're doing creatively is say there's a Publix anchored center with some strips on the end, small
Yeah.
shop spaces. Say there's like one or two spaces that has a short-term lease and maybe a vacancy. We'll weed out all of that term and then we'll demo and go in, with obviously the landlord's permission and
Nice.
go in and make a new site plan where we like restructure an older building that maybe no one thought the footprint could change because
Yeah.
again, infill Miami, there's not opportunities for that. And that's where we're then, like doing things no one else is doing right now. I've never heard of another coffee concept going in and demoing, sides of buildings to then, be able to
No.
kind of put their footprint there.
It's hard to fit them. You got to get creative. I mean, it's
Mhm.
the other markets. I get Seven Brews, and it's bulldoze this, bulldoze the old drive-through kind of
Yeah.
play. Or one of them recently was Burger King. Take out a Burger King, and Starbucks is on part of it. It's like you got to bump
Mhm.
Starbucks, take out the Burger King, put Seven Brew in. They're
Yeah.
bidding like crazy for it. It's like wow. So you got outbid Starbucks and the vacant space next to it, and it's
But
just
in turn though, I mean, you're not having to do a lot of the development, so
yeah,
cost-wise, it is saving you still. Even though you're having to do all of that Upwork, what I'm not saying is easy, at least you're not having to do all of that and then do a build to suit like some of our
yeah,
competitors, and I'm
yeah.
not gonna name names, but,
They
like the
ask
it
for capital.
800 to $900,000 of capital to build one. If the
Yeah,
numbers for that rent, if you're sitting at low hundreds on some of our competitors, there's no way any developer down here in Miami is gonna make that make sense.
no.
So, the fact that we're able to kind of, truck in our building basically and make that happen has been a huge value add on our side of things.
Northern Florida starts working.
Yeah.
Start getting those
Might be a little
numbers.
bit easier there, yeah. Numbers make a little
Those
bit more
numbers.
sense, but
Yeah,
yeah, an infill market where it's basically swampland or you can pay the
yeah,
price of the last undeveloped parcel. You've had generational owners down here in
yeah,
Miami. That's what you're competing against is like
yeah.
the families and the institutions and all of that.
So how'd you get in with Seven Brew? Was it deal, cha-ching? You got it? Or how did
I
you?
It's an interesting story. So I have a listing off of 49th Street. It's a vacant bank and pad site.
Okay.
Love the deal. It's right under $10 million. It's just an expensive piece of land. Again, 49th Street. So in my head, I was kind of thinking, if I can't find a user right now or someone that's telling me, hey, I can make those numbers make sense, why don't I go trying to find the tenants that can maybe make the numbers make sense for my owner? So I started reaching out, and there was a woman named Amanda who kindly met her through crew and some other people, and she connected me with Shay, who my real estate manager for my franchisee is. We spoke
Yeah.
a multitude of times. At first there wasn't even a goal of trying to achieve this business. It was just like, hey, I have sites, places that I think would be perfect for you guys,
Yeah.
especially this one on 49th Street. Let's try to make it happen. Through those conversations, we kind of just clicked, and there was a vacancy or a hole in the market that they were looking to fill with this. So between me going to University of Miami, my connections with other landlords down here, and kind of my social media aspect of putting my
Yeah.
hand in a lot of different pots where maybe I don't have any other reason to be there, but the fact that I have my social media, I'm able to get these opportunities for them that were kind of missing. So, I mean, that's how I would say I got it. I'm really, really grateful again for the opportunity, because it's not like I can say I have a Rolodex of, other national clients that I'm doing for this for, but I think with the stuff that we're working on and the progress that we've
Yeah.
made, it's there's a lot of success that hopefully will be coming from it. So,
So your social media presence, I want to ask you about that. I'll put Kaylin's information, contact information, if you guys want to reach out to Kaylin, do business with her. If you have a shopping center you want to sell, you got a place you want Seven Brew in the area she's talking about, other deals you want her to work on or ask her advice, right? I'll put her contact information in the description of this video so you can get to her. And if you tell me about your social media, I could put your social media handles in there as well. So what do
of
you
course.
use? I'm a big fan of social media. What do you use social media for? What has it helped you with? What's your strategy and what happened that you didn't realize was going to happen when you started doing social media stuff? Is that too many questions for you?
No, no, I think I can
Go for
kind
it.
of get them all and
Yeah,
tell me if I'm, going off course some, but
sure.
I would say the biggest thing was that people actually wanted to know who I was as a person and like my
Yeah,
personality. Never thought that in business, and let's be honest, I still have times where I'm walking a thin line, right, of what I'm posting, maybe just because I'm out there and I say whatever I want. But
yeah,
I say that like with like humor and comedy, but I didn't think there was even slightly a world where those two things ever combine. I was always taught growing up, like, do not share online. Businesses and companies do not want to know who you are as a person. You're there to be an employee, get your job done, go. Like, do not share anything personal. The minute that I didn't do that and just completely like went off course and started sharing anything and everything, which I give a lot of credit to Don Tetman, strip mall guy, who originally
okay.
I had randomly basically sent him a deal on my old high school account that I never went on. He gave me a call immediately in like 20 minutes when I sent the deal. We talk. I walk into the room with all the guys afterwards, and I'm like, I just talked to strip mall guy. They're like, no way. Like they were all thought I was lying. I'm like, no, I just talked to Don. Like he's so nice, all this stuff. From then on, he like reached back out and was like, hey, Kaylin, if I could give you any advice, delete this Twitter account. Like you and the cat shit
Start a
on
new
like
one.
wall. No, no, which he was right. Like this, I was retweeting stuff, from high school, just silly, stupid things.
Yeah,
And he's just like, make a business one and really go after like post every day. The biggest piece
yeah,
of advice he ever told me was post, what's it called, for 3 weeks, at least once a day for 3 weeks, but 3 times a day for 3 weeks, and see the growth. And within doing that, I had like 600 followers. Went
yeah.
from
It's
nothing to
amazing.
600. And then I guess with other stuff as social media, then I started thinking, okay, how can I compete now? Because I have this kind of, tool in my tool belt that other people don't
Yeah,
have. How can I compete with people that I have no business competing with based on my, track record? Like I've done deals. I've done over,
yeah,
25 or 30 deals, but I'm not ever going to be with the experience of tenure, me 4 years into this, that, JLL, Cushman, Wakefield, whatever, Colliers, all the big name guys, Marcus, that 45 plus years have been doing this and they know all the friends of all the, big companies. Like, that is not how I'm going to compete with them. Like, I got to
yeah,
have an asset. So, the social media is what helped with that. Was able to grow that to now about 4,600 followers on Twitter.
yeah.
Uh,
That's amazing. And this industry doesn't have followers. It's not
no,
like music or art or something creative that has big numbers of people that show up and follow this. A handful of followers can be
Mhm,
huge. They could be the money, they
mhm,
could be the buyers, they could be the sellers. It's
mhm.
just a handful of people can be huge quality in this industry. And so
Yeah.
doing over 4,000 in any of the social media platforms is, I think, an amazing feat of finding that kind of interested audience. So keep going.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It definitely like, twiddles on times where I'm getting a bunch of followers and then I don't see a bunch of new followers for months, right? And then
Yeah,
it's a consistency thing, but what that has brought me is a network of extremely successful individuals.
good.
People like Beth Azor, Bob Knackle, Strip, like, all these big names and people, Natasha Falcone, Jessica Malcolm. Like, I have all of these people not on retainer because they don't owe me anything, but like I have them as resources and
Yeah,
also as people that interact with me on social medias and then give me a sense of by no means notoriety, but I feel like it gives a sense of like, hey, I trust them, like validity. It gives me a
yeah.
sense of validity in an industry that maybe looks at the 27-year-old girl and is like, huh, does she actually know something? Like, I get tested all the time if people think that I'm just a pretty face or if I'm actually smart or whatever it may be. The
You've
minute that I've
got them
had
both.
well, thank you.
There
Like,
you go.
they trust me a lot more. I'm getting listings with people that believe in me as a young agent and believe in me as the
Good.
work ethic of someone younger versus just giving it to the big name shop to add it to their Rolodex of listings. Like that's kind
Yeah,
of the difference. And so yeah, I've now amassed over probably 20 million impressions over the past year on all of my social media platforms.
cool.
I had a TikTok that went viral that hit 10 million views, and I had everyone reaching
Heck
out,
yeah.
like, there's all this random stuff, and it's like, I wasn't even trying to do TikTok before like that, and that has, like, over 20,000 followers, so the
Yeah,
more that you just keep posting and doing it, the more recognition you can get, and then, again, I might not have the track record for some of these listings that I'm getting opportunities for, but I'm getting a seat at the table because they know that I have outreach that others don't have. Like,
good for you. You just do
yeah,
it. So
so
go create, build it up, see where it
yep.
goes over time.
Yeah,
And
and then you
you get,
can call out companies online like I did when
yeah,
people weren't responding to me, and literally I had like a I'm not gonna say a name because 'cause I'm gonna get people in trouble, but someone would reach out on the emails and I was like, "At blah, 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 why is no one responding to me on this property? I need to know what's up."
right?
I had the head of their real estate department give me a call. She was not happy with me. I did not mean to really call him out like that, but I got what I needed for my client
Yeah,
within 4 hours online because someone
heck
saw it
yeah.
and liked it.
That's how you do it. It's the
Yeah,
modern world, right? You
yeah.
just get it out there. No, that's
Mhm.
cool. So, would you like to highlight any particular properties that you've got listed right now? I've got your Crexy account pulled up.
Yeah,
If it's cool, I could
please,
share
yeah,
screen and throw that up there.
I would love
Okay,
that.
because I talk to people like all day long about different properties, and I love looking people up on Crexy. Like, okay, what did you sell? What are you selling? What's pulled up
Yeah.
here? And so this is Crexy.com, and we've got Kaylan's her bio and
It looks like I need to update that because there's a lot of
the older
there's a
picture.
lot of changes that have happened. I did get a promotion at the very
Congrats.
tail end of last year. Thank you so much. So just little things that need to be updated, but
Yeah, there's always something to update out there. So we got
always
a
something.
Vero Beach property, freestanding
Yeah,
retail property,
2
Bradenton,
true
Florida. Okay, go ahead.
Mhm. No, no, sorry, I just those are 2 True Leaves that a client of ours owns, 8 cap deals, and, I would say the True Leaf part of things with the cannabis, some people like it, some people don't. I know,
Yeah,
like, immigrants, for example, like, immigrant investors can't invest in cannabis because, like, basically deportation. So I've had some clients
no,
from different countries where they're like, "Can't do cannabis because if I try to then get citizenship, they're gonna make it seem like I'm illegally fronting money through, like, a cannabis." Like,
how
that's what
frustrating
the
is that?
government
There's a
would
lot of
kind
stupid rules in there. The
of stupid.
bankers are weird and the title's
Yeah,
weird and
yeah,
a lot of things get weird, but somebody else will love it and just,
exactly.
charge enough. Somebody will say, I'd like that rent and I'll run with it.
New deals, like, 15-year leases on corporate tenants. They're great
Nice.
deals, but if I were to really talk about, some more kind of deals that we kind of, more so our speed would be kind of this KFC right there that you have.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a good one. Walmart out parcel over there in Charleston, Illinois.
You've
I
talked to me about this one a couple times. I
Mhm,
keep saying I'm going to spend more time on it. I haven't, and I'm sorry, but I should.
I said,
Yeah, so
but
30. 3,100 square feet was a KFC. KFC's shedding a lot of properties. It's a 1.3 acre, got some size to it. It's a bigger
Mhm.
chunk of land. Is it all mechanically in place? Like, I don't have to go change
No, the
something
story
serious?
behind this one of why KFC actually left is the operator went bankrupt, like the
Okay,
franchise, and so they actually operated a lot of KFCs around the area. Now there is no chicken, like no KFC within 52 miles of this area. So I think there's an opportunity just in general for like, copy paste, infill, backfill another chicken concept, whether it's KFC, whether that's Popeyes, any of those. Like I think that would do really well. The second thought is for a development aspect, there's no restrictions on anything here. So zoning wise, you could do anything from a car wash to, doing this. So I think because of the acreage, to your point, 1.32 acres, it gives that opportunity. But is there going to be a lot more work that gets done to get it to that point? Yes. You're the closest out parcel to the Walmart right there. It's not
yeah,
like an amazingly ranked Walmart on Placer, but as you know, with some of these markets, the more secondary, call it tertiary markets, these Walmarts are like the pinnacle of the city.
yeah.
And
This is
you're
the
not
traffic
driving
driver. Yeah,
exactly driving an hour.
this is where people go. They come
Mhm,
from everywhere to go there.
mhm.
They
And then you have
buy
the
some
kids.
food while they're there.
There's a university right in here that all of the kids, like right
Eastern
to the
Illinois. Okay,
yep. And so the Jersey Mike's, the Arby's, the McDonald's, all of those placed in the 97th or 98th percentile of those brands, like in the state, it does so well.
huh,
My franchisee of Seven Brew coincidentally has the territory for Central Illinois. And so they actually
okay.
purchased the land next to McDonald's, which when you see a corporate or like, the franchise
Oh,
themselves
weird.
kind of buying it, yeah, you can see that there's obviously drivers. Like they're not renting from someone else. They're just gonna purchase outright, which isn't
Yeah,
their
so they bought
normal.
it. It's not
Mhm.
their normal MO. They're usually ground leasing, but they bought
Yep.
this one and they're going for it. That's cool.
Yep. So I think
Yeah.
it just shows that this kind of market can substantiate those type of, opportunities basically.
Have you gone to the chicken shops, the Popeyes and there's a bunch of
So
chicken shops. Have you approached them? Have
yeah,
you pitched them? And do they bounce off? Do they give you any reason why? There's no restrictions on it, like no more fried chicken from the old
no,
people?
I have a leasing agent that when we were purchasing this, they were the leasing agent on it themselves. And so
Okay.
I kind of was like, let's keep them on, see, because if we can obviously sell it for more if we lease it and then sell it versus sell it vacant.
Yeah.
And so to be completely honest with you, I think he has gone to those. I obviously, again, more of a broker respect thing. I'm not going to go around to all of those shops and like
Yeah.
go put it in front of them. But what I'm telling every buyer is like, the same thing, like, go do it yourself, you know what I mean? Like, if you
Yeah.
have those relationships, if you know a franchisee that's expanding, like, don't stop me, like, there's room and price on the 1.2, to purchase that vacant. I think the 1.2 is a little bit high for the market, but, again, we kind of based the 1.2 off of a previous offer that, the leasing broker had gotten from, like, a car wash type of person, and so, do I think that the market can still handle that? Yes. Do I think it's maybe a little bit rich? Yes. But my guy's negotiable. Like I said, like he's a deal maker. He wants to get a deal done. Show me what you got, Luke.
I know, right? This sounds like my kind of shop. There's a half dozen chicken shops that are blowing up like crazy in the
Yeah.
market right now that might fit that. This is 3,000 square foot. I mean, some of those will still do the 3,000 square foot and just getting them in there, right? Okay, let me get back to you on this one. What other ones do you got?
Yeah, I mean, the Hialeah
So,
land, that'd be a good one to touch on, the 9 point. Yeah. So this deal, like I said, it's a trophy asset down here in 49th Street. You're 1.75 million people within 10 miles. The VPD is insane. You have your hard corner. You have malls also like Westland Mall and across the street, like the LA Fitness ranks extremely well. There's just so many drivers to this street. It's kind of an iconic street. The problem again is just not the problem. The hurdle that we're facing is just pricing. I have Seven Brew and, some other tenants that have expressed interest at this site. From a development standpoint, the numbers don't exactly work out. Even though we're ground leasing our part, you need another tenant to make it make sense. And that's where developing wise it gets a little tight. So that's just the biggest thing right now, like an owner user, medical, something along those lines is probably what needs to kind of go there, but ownership group isn't someone that's just gonna kind of oh sorry. My ownership group isn't a group that's just gonna take an offer to take it. Like they're not
Yeah.
hurting for money. They're, very well off. And the first person with an acceptable offer, we were talking to a healthcare group before, and if there's
Yeah.
someone with an acceptable offer, then they'll take it. And that's
So
really,
you want to get 7 brew on the side and somebody
yeah,
else in the building that can pay
yeah.
enough rent to make it pencil. And
Mhm.
so 7 brew's gunning, but they're not halfway there. They're not going to pay enough to get. They're probably a quarter way or something to get the valuation up there.
Yeah.
Speaking, so you need
And it's a high
rent.
rent, like,
Yeah,
it's there this is definitely one of the highest rents that I've, at least when we were talking of them wanting to be at a site, they're like, kinda like, "Tell me what needs to happen to get it done, and we'll see if that makes sense," but the number they're currently at is definitely high for, what we're doing and not being a new development public center. That's kind of where you're obviously gonna garner your highest value, is a new development like that versus
yeah.
just infilling, but this street kind of gives a different, yeah, like a different result with that offer.
So you want to talk about a different property,
Yeah.
or we only
Well,
have
we can talk
we got
about
a
the
couple.
Georgian Park Medical Center. That was my first deal that I ever got in my career. Like, almost
Congrats.
4 years ago, that was the first. Well, I don't know about congrats, but because 4 years, but here's the thing. So, 4 years ago, when I was at another firm, that's when I started my whole career. I was a medical, like, office broker at first. That's what I was cold
Yeah,
calling. Then I started talking to more and more doctors. I love doctors, but I didn't love cold
yeah.
calling doctors.
Right.
So,
That's got
to
to
me,
be
like,
hard.
talking to a lot of office assistants, always getting passed around, like, it really annoyed me. I just didn't love it. So, long story short, we had brought a BOV to her, or presented the BOV to her, which is a broker opinion of value. So basically what I think the building is worth vacant, because she was moving out. She's not going to be occupying it still. And it was
Okay.
about 2 million. So she wanted 2.65, listed for two, or got an offer for 2.3 within the first 2 weeks of being on market 4 years ago. Then basically she's like, no, I want 265. Well, never really we only got one other person up to kind of the number she wanted. We had two daycare groups that were going back and forth. It's a great property. It's a great site. Ended up not being able to make the rent make sense for a tenant to backfill it. Fine. And a lot of stuff happened with interest changes, right? Over the past
Yeah.
3 to 4 years, a lot of things have changed. So not only is the offer at 2.3 not there anymore, all cash, that was gonna do it. Now
Yeah.
it's even harder to find because everyone's coming in at like low twos. So she just, again, like, she wasn't gonna just take a number to take it. So held. Now we're under contract. Yay, just went under
Good.
contract days
Congrats.
ago. Thank you so much. Right around that number, basically, again, that we said that it was kind of gonna transact at. It's gonna be an owner user veterinary clinic that is gonna
Heck
just,
yeah.
take over the old medical space, and it's gonna be great, and, like, super excited. That took, it took a while. You're finding your needle in the haystack kind of buyer,
Yeah.
right? For a certain
Finding
price
that
sometimes.
one. The
So,
specific buyer that likes that market, that area, everything specific about it, but eventually pulling it off and making it happen.
yeah,
That's
but I
awesome.
ended up traveling up to thank you so much. I ended up traveling up to Peachtree City. It was my first, like, work trip ever. It was a day trip. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Me, the two guys that I was working with, we all go up there, rent a car, whatever. She takes us around. It's a whole long day. Get home at like 10 p.m. I've never felt more like an adult or in the workforce in my life. Like, it was it
Yeah.
was really cool, but, like, getting to meet her, get that thing basically signed in person and be like, "Cool. This is real estate. I have my first listing.
Yeah.
Yay, now
First
what? Now
one.
I gotta go
Go
sell it."
for it.
Yeah,
Right? Now the hard work happens.
yeah,
No,
and I thought the other part was
that's
hard, just getting the listing. Now it's the actual hard part.
yeah. Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna stop the sharing. I
Okay.
wanted to say thank you. We're out of time for today. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for answering questions. Maybe I can have you on again someday and
Love
get
it.
updates on deals out into the future. I think there's a lot to learn from each other, and others could listen in and learn as well. And I hope to make more of these kinds of videos into the future. If you like these kinds of videos, please hit subscribe. Check out the link and the information in the description below to get back to Kaylin's Instagram. And should we put TikTok on there? I want to should put a link to this TikTok one
We'll
here, this $10
definitely do
million
LinkedIn,
one.
Twitter, all of
LinkedIn,
those.
Twitter. Okay, so LinkedIn, Twitter,
TikTok,
TikTok,
we can do
and
TikTok.
Instagram. I
Yeah.
like TikTok. I
Instagram's
got,
not like, it's not business for me. I've been thinking about, like, changing it and doing a business one, but right now it is totally personal, so just heads
yeah,
up.
heads up. There you go. I should spend more time on TikTok. I sold a lot of properties on TikTok. TikTok's an awesome tool for
Insane, you got a story.
doing for these. Yeah, I should tell some of those stories, but I've told enough stories. I've got 1,000 plus videos of stories on, two, maybe even 2,000 videos on YouTube, but a lot of videos, different stories. Today it's about your stories. And thank you. Thanks for coming on. Thanks, Kaylin, being awesome and telling us about your Seven Brew stories and other deals that you're working on.
Of
Much
course. No,
appreciated.
thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, and like I said, we're gonna get many deals done this year. I'm super excited
Yeah.
and happy that we met when we did. So,
Yeah.
thanks so much.
Likewise. Thank you.